Should you quit your job to go full-time indie? A few months ago, I made this video. Went indie, went all in, it made millions. The video was what the games industry might refer to as a post-mortem of my wife and I's development journey, making our mid-tier indie hit Eastshade. I quit my job to go indie. I quit my job in AAA games. So I was already an experienced game developer. I also had around $130,000 in savings, ready to spend it all, or simply go back and get a job if things didn't pan out. Our post-mortem has over 1 million views now, and with that comes lots and lots of comments. I'm happy to say most really liked our story and hearing our journey, but I did see one really surprising, reoccurring criticism. It's the notion that sharing my story was irresponsible, destructive, or even toxic, as some people called it, because the idea that such a risky life decision could actually result in success is apparently just too dangerous for aspiring indie devs to be hearing. Well, my postmortem was certainly not supposed to be a tutorial. It was my story, openly and candidly. Maybe we're all just so used to game dev gurus on YouTube, we perceive everything to be some kind of advice. It wasn't advice, but it did get me thinking, would I advise someone to do what I did? Was it too risky? Was it irresponsible? Here's my answer. If someone came to me with my exact life situation that I had at the time when I started Eastshade, so high quality experience in games, money in the bank, no kids, no mortgage, and most importantly, a fantastic looking work in progress that proved this person was capable of making a commercially competitive product, I tell them, yeah, quitting your job is a reasonable path. If they only had a little bit of savings, I'd tell them that they should still consider quitting because I'd know that they have a great chance of securing funding from a publisher. Eastshade had hundreds of publishers pitching to us throughout development, starting almost immediately from the time I first showed the game publicly. This question is a popular topic among talking heads and game dev gurus, and it's especially popular here among game dev YouTube. The general consensus is, no, don't quit your job, crazy. This is a solid one-size-fits-all answer. But let me tell you, privately I have told people that they should quit their jobs. It completely depends on the person, their situation, and most importantly, and confoundingly not even talked about, their skills and experience, and what it is they've got cooking up. The latest person I told that they should quit their job was sitting on a work in progress, which at a glance I could tell was physically impossible of grossing less than 10 mil. I'm serious, there are some unbelievably talented devs out there. Let me try to pump some intuition with an analogy. If you had a friend who really wanted to start a restaurant, maybe a particular kind of restaurant, it's their dream, but they have no capital, no experience in business, no experience as a commercial chef. You know, maybe they make nice food at home, but no experience in the restaurant business, never even washed dishes, never seen the inside of a commercial kitchen. You'd probably tell them that starting a restaurant is kind of crazy. There's no way they should quit their job to try this, right? But how about a head chef or a sous chef? The plan of starting a restaurant sounds a whole lot less crazy for this particular person. Here's the thing. How does someone make a commercially successful product with no money capital and no skill capital? They don't. It would be kind of a magic trick if they did. I mean, it happens, but when it does, the dev has usually been grinding for so long that they've gained the skills in the process. In my opinion, the biggest barrier for most indie devs is not marketing or discoverability, but having the production muscle to make a commercially competitive product. Production muscle means skill and time or money to buy them. If you look at the top sellers or even the mid sellers in most genres, and you look at their Steam pages, the games look fantastic. The art looks great, the UIs look slick, the scope is convincing and immediately apparent. The trailers are well made and sometimes even stunning. 99% of the products that sell on Steam are professional looking products made by professionals. And by the way, if you're thinking about going full-time indie, the absolute first step you should be doing is market research and sizing up what kind of quality and scope benchmark you think you can compete with and what kind of revenue games like that make. You can use GameStats.com or Gamealytics to do this. I give a rundown of what that looks like in my Marketing is Not the Problem video. That sounded like an ad, but it wasn't an ad. I'm not trying to sell anything. So here's what I would recommend to someone starting out. Focus on skills. I'd say focus on one skill. My recommendation would be art or coding, because these account for the lion's share of the boots on the ground production work. Become an industry pro level artist or coder. Get some experience and credibility before you try to make your own commercial game. And then you can ensure you have at least one production strength for your fledgling studio. My background is 3D environment art. In order to become a AAA level 3D artist, I had to focus on this completely. I had to make it my identity and totally immerse myself in the craft. Some people say make lots of little games. Maybe that's a good approach to learn the ropes once you've already mastered a discipline to a high level, but I don't love that approach for starting out because I don't feel like little games push your ability to deal with late stage complexity in large projects, which is actually when game dev gets hard in my opinion. And they certainly don't push you to become a better artist. I think just working on a portfolio is much better for that. So that's my advice for starting the road to full-time indie. Pick art or code and hone your skills to a professional level. Ideally, even get a job in games in that discipline, which itself is going to be quite a journey. As far as I can tell, most successful game studios, small and large, were founded by someone who had prior production experience in games. Yes, we do occasionally see an out-of-nowhere indie sensation from someone with bottomless talent and an eye for everything, but it's not the common path. If you're already a little further along in your journey, maybe you already work in games, I don't really have any general advice for you. At that point, it gets a little too specific and situational. But for most folks, I do think the best first step is to focus on getting one discipline to an industry professional level and establishing some experience and credibility. Play the long game. The road to becoming a project lead, which is what an indie founder is a journey. Alternatively, you can ignore my stupid advice and do whatever the heck you want. That's what I like to do with most advice.